Hi there, I'm Cyan and welcome to Something Sciencey. Here in the Western world, we live in an era where medicines and vaccines mean that we aren't very likely to die at a young age due to disease or illness. In fact, outside of accidents, when we do die, it will be because of old age or age-related diseases such as cancer. And so, the next step in medicine would surely be to defeat aging. But is that even possible? Well, there are in fact examples in the animal kingdom of species that defy aging. There have been lots of studies into the nematode worm Caenorhabditis elegans, which has shown that if it lives in long periods of starvation, then it can actually live for longer. This is because they spend their energy on living and repairing themselves instead of reproducing. Actually, there have been case studies in humans and monkeys that show that living through a period of starvation or having a lower calorific intake can allow you to live for longer. But it does mean that you're less likely to be able to have children. It's a trade-off. This is the naked mole rat, Heterocephalus glaber, and while it may look cute in the ugliest of ways, it actually has some uniquely interesting features. It's one of the few mammalian species to be eusocial, which means it has a breeding queen and non-reproducing workers that tend to her and the nest, much like bees. They live underground in the tropical grasslands of Africa and can go up to 17 minutes without oxygen. Most importantly, naked mole rats can live for many years without seeming to age. Based on their size, we would expect naked mole rats to live around 2 or 3 years, but they can actually live up to 10 times that amount, with individuals in captivity being kept for over 30 years. And even more interestingly, they seem to be resistant to most forms of cancer. Scientists have been studying the naked mole rat in the hopes that we can find out how it lives so long, and then hopefully we'll be able to apply that to ourselves. But naked mole rats don't live forever. After a certain amount of time, their cells will rapidly deteriorate in age and they'll die within a few days. If we wanted to live forever, then we're going to have to look a little further afield, or rather, to the oceans. The so-called immortal jellyfish, Turritopsis dohrnii, defies death by reverting back into its larval stage. Jellyfish have many life stages, but the two that they spend the most time in is the young polyp stage and the sexually mature medusa, which is probably what you think of when I say jellyfish. Usually when the polyp is old enough or large enough, it goes through the rest of the stages and becomes a medusa, reproduces, ages, and eventually dies. But if Turritopsis feels stressed, perhaps it doesn't have enough to eat, or the ocean is too hot or salty, then it can turn back into a polyp until it's happy again. And it can do this indefinitely as far as we're aware, meaning it can live its life over and over again and again, hence the name immortal jellyfish. To us humans, this is a very interesting story, but it's not particularly useful because we can't go back to being children, although that would be cool. You know what? I am too stressed. I don't want to be an adult anymore. Yay! Another sea creature, the lobster, has a great trick up its sleeve, and this one actually might be useful for humans. Any of you who have seen my previous episodes may be familiar with telomerase. When our cells divide, they need to replicate the DNA inside, but each time they do this, they cut a little bit off of the ends, or the telomeres. Once all of the telomere is cut off, the cell will no longer function and die. Telomerase is an enzyme which adds the ends back onto the DNA. In humans, we have telomerase active in our sex cells, which means that each new generation will have their telomeres as long as the last. However, this is not turned off in lobsters, which means it can grow bigger and older, and its DNA will still be just as long as it is in a young lobster, which means that theoretically, it could live forever. The key word there, of course, is theoretically. Lobsters don't live forever, and that's because as they grow bigger, it becomes harder to molt their exoskeleton or their shell. But even though they can't molt their shell when they're larger, that doesn't stop them from growing, so eventually the shell squeezes them really tightly and it accumulates lots of bacteria and parasites, and eventually that is what kills the lobster. Hey there, I hope you enjoyed that. Please be sure to like this video if you liked it. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any new videos. Also, I have a lot of social media links now, all of them are in the description down below, so you can follow me there if you like. And if you have any comments or questions, you can write them in the comment box below, or you can tweet me, and I will get back to you either in the comment section, or if there are enough questions, I will make another video on the 3rd Thursday of this month. As always, you've come for the science and now stay for the song. This song is called If You Want to Live Forever. You're a worm, you're a stressed out worm, and your survival genes gone wild. So you'll live forever all by yourself, 'cause you'll never have a child. If you wanna live forever, gotta do what I say. Gonna stop yourself, activate your telomerase, or you can live underground with no oxygen, or relive your childhood again and again and again, but you'll still die in the end. It's collapsing, the tunnel is collapsing, and you're being buried alive. What use is your naked, cancerless existence? In an accident you can't survive. If you wanna live forever, got to do what I say. Gonna stop yourself, activate your telomerase, or you can live underground with no oxygen, or relive your childhood again and again and again, but you'll still die in the end. You are old, you are very old, and your shell is squeezing tight. All your friends are dead, and you're feeling so tired, and you're filled up with parasites. And now you don't want to live forever, so don't do what I say. Don't starve yourself or activate your telomerase. Just live above ground with all the oxygen. Don't want to relive your childhood again and again and again, 'cause you'd still die in the end. When you're feeling stressed, got to be a polyp. When it's all too much, got to be a polyp. Yeah, the water's too hot, got to be a polyp. Not eating enough, got to be a polyp. When your taxes are due, got to be a polyp. And no one loves you, got to be a polyp. Got 5 missed calls, got to be a polyp. Want to be immortal? Be a polyp. If you wanna live forever, got to do what I say. Gonna starve yourself or activate your telomerase. You could live underground with no oxygen, or relive your childhood again and again and again and again and again, but you'll still die in the end. Thanks for watching.